Hey, you guys, in this video, I'm going to unpack for you the most common mistakes that I see with content licensing. I want to save you time. I want to save you money. And so this is a really important video about what you need to avoid so that you don't make the mistakes that some people that I've come across have made. I'm going to be sharing with you actual stories of things that have happened with clients in the past. And I just really want you to be protected as you move forward with content licensing. If you are new here, thank you so much for tuning into this video. I'm April Beach. I coach experts and coaches and consultants just like you, particularly to make millions of dollars by licensing your genius. So please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. We are trying to grow our educational reach, and so your support is really appreciated. So in this video, it's going to be short but compact. I'm going to share 3 common mistakes, and then I'm going to break it down backwards for you into the steps I want you to take to actually get clear on these things so you don't make those mistakes. And then I'm going to be unpacking those very specific stories for you. You ready? Let's go ahead and dive on in. Okay, so this is a continuation of our discussions on content licensing 101. So first of all, what actually is content licensing? It's very similar to what you're probably familiar with, music licensing or art licensing or brand licensing, but this is a huge secret. I'm the only one that coaches people how to do this. So I feel like it's my obligation to protect you by sharing as much information as possible as I actually can here in this video format so that you can move forward into content licensing in the best way for you possible. So content licensing is like renting your content. We're not renting necessarily a brand or music or art. We're renting your genius. So think about taking your course or your training, your method or your process or framework, and we're going to give other companies permission to use it under certain terms, within certain rules. And it is totally a game changer. I'll drop some other links to some other really cool videos, some case studies of clients who have done this. I've done this myself, about how you can actually reach so much more people with your work by content licensing. So by not actually having to distribute yourself and allowing other companies to distribute your work, we can actually expand the reach of your work more than we can with all of the marketing, all of the affiliates, all of the ad spend. Nothing can expand the reach of your work like content licensing can, because the difference is you're not the only one distributing it. And when we collectively come together with other companies to share your genius or your processes, your system, your course, or your training, it's going to be a game changer for both you and the people that are distributing it, and then the end users. So that's what content licensing is in a nutshell. And in this video, I really want to, in this little training here, I really want to break down the common mistakes I see. And a couple of them have come up within this last week again. I mean, I constantly see mistakes, but I've had 2 different specific conversations in the last week that made me realize, bam, I really need to be doing this training here on these common mistakes so that you guys can avoid them. And so let me kind of back this up with some stories. First of all, most people don't know how to do content licensing. As I've mentioned before, I'm the only consultant in the world that I'm aware of that actually teaches it and has a process to help other people do this, and a whole project plan. I've been doing this and coaching on it for over a decade. So because of that, a lot of people get into this without really knowing what they're doing. So when a company may approach you to license your content, first of all, it's really flattering. Let's be honest. If you are, and this happened to one client specifically, she was speaking on a stage. Let's say you're speaking on a stage and a company comes up to you and says, you know what? Whatever you have, I want that. I want my clients to have it. I want my employees to have that. What you have, what you sell, can we have that in our business? That is really a confirmation of how great you are. And if that's happened to you before, congratulations. And it's very flattering. And it's just really a confirmation of all the hard work that you have put into your business and learning your area of expertise so far. Amazing. But then what happens is what happened to this client is then she was so excited about it. She went into talks with them, ended up creating something totally custom for them, not understanding anything about content licensing and how to create a licensing offer. She was very excited about it. Frankly, the company was very excited about it. They didn't go intentionally try to sabotage her. The company didn't even know what they were asking for. And she ended up with an agreement that basically paid her hardly anything and gave away the content of her course. I don't want that to happen to you. So in this video, I want to break down the 3 most common mistakes that I see when it comes to content licensing. So the first one is price. Most people have no clue how to price licensing. So it's different than how we would go price a course or your mastermind or a membership or a community that you have been building. How we price content licensing takes so many more things into account, including operational expenses, legal expenses, setup fees. And what's most important is if you don't understand the value of your training in an organization. So if you're watching this video, probably you're a consultant or you're a subject matter expert or a speaker or author or coach, right? And so type yes if that's you. So how we approach and we see the value of pricing our offers before, even if it's one-on-one consulting service, is the value for that particular user. But when we take that same training, that same program, and we actually price it out for a company, the value is totally different because of so many different factors within that organization and who you're licensing it to. Even if it's another small business, even if it's another coaching business, just like you, all the way up to corporations and even nonprofits. How we value licensing is not the same as we price selling courses or selling one-on-one coaching. So the first mistake I see is not fully understanding how to go through the pricing structure and how to accurately price your content for licensing. So with that being said, a resource to you, obviously this is what I teach. We give our clients pricing calculators, taking into all accounts of your content and the buyer that you're licensing to. You can apply to work with us by cruising over to sweetlifeco.com/apply at any point in time. And you can also learn more about our programs and how we can serve you over at sweetlifeco.com. But that's number one. Let me give you a story about this. So I have a client who's currently in Amplify, one of our licensing programs, and she has an amazing curriculum. We're actually licensing her curriculum with a nonprofit in Africa. And she is part of delivering her curriculum. It's not just a curriculum, which, by the way, is her life's work. This is everything that she's been working on for 30 years. It's her genius. But on top of that, we needed to bring together getting her to Africa. And in part of her process of pricing it, she came to me when she started working with me with one idea in mind. And what happened is when we really looked at it through the value to this organization, her time and the actual value of her IP, her licensing proposal that she sent to them was 3.5 times more than she thought it would be. And so that is one of the things that I just want to be sure that you understand it's not the same. And I don't want you to make the same mistake. So mistake number one I see is obviously guessing the pricing. We have those solutions for you. Don't hesitate to reach out. Number two are on the rules of licensing. There are some rules with licensing. I call them the 7 levers of licensing. These are parameters. So these are like your rules that you're willing to do to release your content to a company. And here's the biggest mistake. Do not ever get into a conversation with a company without knowing your rules first. Number one, please don't ever do that. So if a company approaches you and they're like, oh man, I really want to license my stuff, great. Say, thank you. I can't wait to license your stuff. Say, great. I can't wait to talk to you about that. This is so excellent. Super excited. Get help. Join one of our courses. Find resources. Get very clear on your rules of release. If you are not clear on your rules of release, here's the mistake. This is what I see happening. First of all, the sales process is a lot longer because, again, in most cases, the company that wants your material doesn't have any idea about what that looks like. They just know that they want your content. They just know that your content's great. So the sales process is really long because it's like, have you ever been in one of those things where it's like designed by committee? Everybody has an opinion. And what ends up happening and what's happened to people before they've come to us is they end up creating something custom for that company. And the whole entire goal of licensing and scaling your reach is totally derailed because it's a completely custom offer that they cannot resell or relicense to anybody else. So you have to be really clear on your rules, your parameters of release, your how long do they have it for, how many people have access to it, where does it live, how is it branded. Those are some of the rules that you have to be really, really clear on. And I always tell our clients, be firm on your rules. It doesn't mean that you can't choose to create something custom, especially if it's a dream organization that wants to license you materials. It doesn't mean that we won't turn those levers, change those rules a little bit to the right licensee. But if you are not clear on those parameters of release, then you're going to be in a hot mess. You're going to make very little money. You're going to end up creating something custom, totally working your ass off. I've seen this happen so many times. And then again, sometimes we run into the problems where people have accidentally created something so custom and they've actually given away their IP and they actually cannot license it to somebody else. So mistake number 2 is not knowing or understanding what the rules and the parameters of licensing are and your rules, and why you've chosen your rules a certain way and how your selection of your rules is going to affect your business. Here's the deal: for the next 3, 5, 10, 15 years from now. And so here is story number 2. I was teaching in a mastermind. I do a lot of speaking in masterminds to help entrepreneurs learn about licensing. And I was doing a guest teaching thing in a mastermind last week. And I was asked, well, can we just go about licensing like we do beta-ing another product? And so the person I was speaking to was like, oh my gosh, I really want to just go in there and hear what they want and kind of create it and feel my way through. And I've already started to reach out to companies. That is like a big red flag. Please do not do that with licensing. Licensing is not a course or an offer or even like another one-on-one service that we can take back if we don't like it. Have you ever licensed or have you ever like launched a program where you really, really thought that you're going to love it? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I don't really feel like doing this anymore. I'm not going to sell this anymore, or I'm going to put it on demand, or I'm going to do it a different way. That's with coaching and consulting. Please do not do that with licensing. That does not apply to licensing. We do not design licensing rules by committee. Okay. And so that does not, yes, we have beta licensing offers. And there are sometimes I will work with our clients and be like, yeah, this is your first licensing deal. Let's do it for a little bit less than we would normally do it. But the rules of release, the parameters, all those are obviously very clear because those will affect your business and your brand and your IP forever. And you can't take them back because of the nature of the licensing contract. Okay. So please don't feel your way through these type of things thinking you can beta offer a licensing deal, because I have only seen terrible things happen with people in that. And so I'm creating this little training for you so that doesn't happen to you. And then the third thing is actually understanding how to create a licensing offer in itself. So first we talked about pricing, then we talked about the rules of release. Now let's talk about the actual licensing offer. A licensing offer or the licensing product is not this exact same as actually you building your course or your training the way you've been doing it B2C, even if you have a group program. And so the mistakes I see are actually taking the time to build out your training in the beginning, thinking you need it all built out. And then we get into the licensing process in sometimes, okay, here's like total insider secret I want you to know. Sometimes when we meet, especially with bigger organizations, they don't want it laid out exactly the way that you may have done it in the past. A lot of times we might need to break out the actual offer, the training program itself, into different layers, different components, because don't forget, with licensing, you're not the one delivering it. And so we need to structure it differently in a bit of a different way so that it's still your IP, it's still getting the results that you promised, but it's not exactly the same way as it was before. And so the mistake I see with this is actually taking the time. Like if you're sitting here thinking, wow, I'm not ready to move into licensing, April, I don't have my course built yet. Go back and look at the case study with my client, Jill, who just licensed a course she didn't even have built yet for $1.2 million to a university. Don't make the mistake that many people make and take the time to build it out. Had Jill taken the time to not only structure the whole entire training, but actually build it out, she would not have been able to do what she's done today, meaning she quit her 9-to-5 job and she is now licensed to 7 different universities since this first video that we made together only a couple months ago. So I don't want you to take the time to actually build something out. Licensing is one of those things where we can actually plan it, make sure the content is great. And I have other podcast episodes about who is qualified to license, how to make sure your material is great, but it doesn't mean it actually has to be recorded and videoed and built out. So don't take the time to actually feel like you have to build it all out before we move into the sales process, because there's this period of time between when we sign a contract for licensing and which you have to deliver it. So those are the top 3 mistakes I see. Number 1 is totally underpricing yourself because you don't understand the intricacies of pricing. Please don't cheat yourself out on that. Number 2 are actually not releasing your content with the right rules that are going to work and be in your business and your brand's advantage for the future. And number 3 is really just not understanding how to structure your actual licensing product. Making these mistakes. So now I'm going to kind of share with you a couple more stories of people that I hear it from and that contact me so that you understand, please don't do these things. So making these mistakes can mean a couple of different things. So I have one client, amazing client. She was a private client of mine a few years back. She came to me because she had developed some programs for I'm not going to drop the name, but a very high profile social media platform. And she had top learning courses on that platform. And in the process, not knowingly, when she took her training program, putting it on there, that platform owned her content. So we had to actually go back and rebuild all of her IP, build it into a certification program. And she accidentally, not knowingly, gave away her content. So please don't do that. That was very painful, very expensive for her. Number 2, just spoke with a guy recently who he was watching my YouTube videos. And he sent me a message. He's like, April, your videos are so good. I felt so confident after watching your YouTube videos that I went out and started pitching. And here's what happened, because he only took what was in each one of the videos and he tried to piece it all together himself. He goes, here's what happened. I pitched this organization and they're super interested. And now they're asking all these questions. And now they want to know this and this and this and this. And I don't know how to answer them because he didn't fully understand truly how to create a licensing offer and the rules of licensing. And he didn't have any idea how to price it. So I love that you're watching my YouTube videos. They're designed to help you understand the most important parts of the foundations of content licensing. That's why I have this YouTube channel. That's why I have my podcast. That's why I write, because I want to share the information about this. But I also don't want you getting yourself in hot water. And so he's kind of in an emergency situation where he's not ready to invest in getting the help that he needs. But what's so cool about it, and this is what I said to him, I said, here's the deal. You know what? What's so cool is that you just experienced what our clients experience, in that you can do this. And it's actually that easy, that it was that simple to say, I have this content, I have this product. Do you want it in your company? And they immediately said yes. And now blah, 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 blah. They went into the sales conversation and he can't answer that. But how cool was that for him to realize, wow, it was actually that simple to go through this process and get a company that's interested in licensing my material. So I'm here to save you years of mistakes. I've been licensing my own content for over 15 years. My courses are licensed in over 13 countries. And when I first started licensing, I had a couple of really great people on my side. And let me be really honest with you. Number 1 was my dad. my dad was an attorney, and I am not an attorney. I'm not giving you any legal advice here, but understanding, that I could tap into his legal expertise was an important thing that I had. But what I had, even if I had only had the legal side, what I had, my area of expertise is offer engineering. It's online business architecture. And before I got into licensing, I had been coaching coaches and consultants on how to build IP and how to build offers for years and years. So I already had that area of expertise and I was able to navigate my way through that. And then also for me, one of my first licensing deals, I had an awesome champion within one of the companies that kind of helped me figure it out. And I just really feel really blessed that I had that opportunity so that I can come to you guys and now have a step-by-step project plan so that you don't make mistakes. And I really feel like if you've followed any of my things for years, I've been coaching coaches for 28 years. If you've been following any of my things, in the last 3 years, you will have seen that I'm strictly consulting on licensing because that's what I feel like is the most important thing for you. I have coached how to launch courses, masterminds, retreats, VIP days, how to develop transformational architectural, curriculum. I have coached on so many different things, but this licensing is a total gift. And I want to be able to give you the knowledge of this gift. And so that's why I create so many informational videos for YouTube, on our podcast, writing on my blog, in so many places about licensing, because I know that this will open up the door and totally change your life forever, like it has for me and my clients. But I also don't want you to make mistakes doing it. So if you want to do it right, if you're ready to take the next step, you want help, cruise over to sweetlifeco.com/apply, or just go to sweetlifeco.com and we have free resources on here for you. I have a course that you can take on demand. There's so many other things that you can dive into. I just want you to know that you're getting the right information from a proven system that has given people results over and over again. And it can also give you those same results so you don't make those mistakes. So that's what this training was about. I hope that you found it helpful. Again, let's go ahead and repeat. And I want to make sure I'm giving you my promises. So the top mistakes are you don't understand how to price, you don't understand the rules, and you don't know how to create a licensing offer. So the 3 steps to fix that, we're going to go backwards. The first one is build your first licensing offer. You can go to sweetlifeco.com and learn how to build your first licensing offer. Number 2, after your offer is built, then you can make the decisions on your parameter of release. Also, we will tell you how to do that. And then number 3, then you're going to know how to accurately price it. You cannot price your licensing offer accurately until the offer is actually built and structured, or at least laid out, not built, laid out and structured correctly, that your parameters of release are clear, that you understand the value of those. And then and only then can we actually help you to have the right price that's fair to your licensees and fair to you for your genius. So I hope you found this helpful. Please like and subscribe to this video, share it, leave a comment below if you have any questions about anything that I shared. Happy to tap in here with you. Thank you so much for tuning into our YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video.